In this video, let us start learning about unsupervised learning. Unsupervised learning. In the previous video, we learned about support vector classification technique, which was a supervised learning technique. From this video onwards, we will start learning about unsupervised learning and various other domains that come under it. Now, unlike supervised learning, here we don't have the target variable with us. We just have the input variable with us. Only the features are present in case of unsupervised learning. So only features are there. So this type of learning where we have only the independent variables or the features but not the outcome or dependent variable is known as unsupervised learning. Now the purpose of unsupervised learning is to discover interesting patterns about your observations. Now this is different from supervised learning where we tell or supervise the model to learn in a particular way. Now let us move forward and understand the various domains of machine learning that comes under unsupervised learning. Now there are a couple of domains that come under unsupervised learning, but we will mainly focus on two domains. One is dimensionality reduction. And the second one is clustering. We will be covering both of them in the coming videos, but we will first cover the topic of clustering and then we will move forward to the concept of dimensionality reduction. So now let us start with the topic of clustering. Now let us say we have a data set where we have our rows and columns. Let us say we have 5 rows and 4 columns. And let us say we have a couple of features like x1, x2, x3 and x4. So these are our columns. And here you can see we are not having a dependent variable. Now then we have our observations, also called as the rows of the dataset. So observations. Now what do we mean by clustering? If I talk about the definition of clustering, taking this dataset into account, it is termed as the division of your observations or rows in something called as buckets. So let us say we have a bucket 1, then a bucket 2, bucket 3, and we divide our observations or rows in these buckets that similar observations are in the same buckets. Now let us understand this in a bit more detail. Let us say we have these 3 buckets and we want to divide our observations on the basis of some criteria. Let us assume some of our observations end up in bucket 1. So let us say this is observation 1, observation 2, 3, 4 and 5. Let us say observation 1 and 2 goes in bucket 1, observation 4 goes in bucket 2 and observation 3 and 5 goes in bucket 3. So in essence, similar observations go in the same bucket. So O1 and O2 are going in this bucket, O3 and O5 are going in the last one, and O4 is going in the second one, right? Now these buckets in the language of machine learning are called as clusters. Now let us understand a couple of areas where the clustering is being used, areas and applications. Now one of the areas is market segmentation. And let us take an example of a shopping mart where they have all kind of customers and the mart targets different people through advertising depending on their interests, requirement and budget. So we have people who are large spenders. Then we have other category of people who are value for money kind of people. So value for money. Type. Then this is large spenders type. Then third we can have small spenders. So we cannot make use of the same kind of ads that we use for large spenders on value for money type of people or for small spenders. So market segmentation generally means to divide your customer base into different segments so you can perform targeting in a more specific manner based on their interests and requirements. Now this is one of the areas that make use of clustering. Let us understand about the second area where we can make use of the concept of clustering. You must have read on e-commerce websites like Amazon, people who bought this also bought this, or you may have read you may also like this product and more. Now these are the kind of recommendations that you get from e-commerce websites. So this is the second area, which is known as the recommender systems. So recommender systems recommend you something based on your past experiences, based on your previous behavior or activities and more. So this was all I wanted to cover in this video, where we discussed about a brief introduction to unsupervised learning, and we also covered a brief overview of clustering. If you liked the video, do give it a thumbs up or comment down below if you have any query. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and let's catch up in the very next one.